It was nice. It was nice seeing everybody smiling and enjoying each other's company and being self-deprecating and it was
Sense
just
of humor.
it was yes, humor.
Yeah.
We haven't had that for a while.
Right.
Well, just
and
like
it was
getting back to traditions, things that we took for granted that we probably thought were silly before. Now you see how important these things are to us now.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I did like the sort of dig that Michelle Obama said to about traditions. It's clip number 4.
Yep.
Traditions like this matter, not just for those of us who hold these positions, but for everyone participating in and watching our democracy. You see, the people, they make their voices heard with their vote. We hold an inauguration to ensure a peaceful transition of power. Those of us lucky enough to serve, work, as Barack said, as hard as we can for as long as we can, as long as the people choose to keep us here. And once our time is up, we move on. And all that remains in this hallowed place are our good efforts.
Yeah, I mean, it's the fact, not that I wanted him to be at Joe Biden's inauguration, but the fact that Donald Trump didn't even want to be there or consider being there was just like, really, dude?
Yeah.
Really? And there's a whole big thing on Twitter right now saying that Hillary Clinton and Stacey Abrams and others in 2016 were denying the election results. No, they weren't. They were just saying, look, she got more votes than he did. Yep. The Electoral College is the only reason he became president.
Right.
So there weren't 60 lawsuits against it. And 2 years in, they weren't still, it was just like, and in 2000, when Al Gore should have been inaugurated and been our president because he did win the Electoral College once all the votes were counted, he would have been the president. That's a legitimate argument.
Yeah.
Of an election being stolen. Talk about being stolen. The man actually won both the popular vote and the Electoral College and still didn't get to be president.
Yeah.
Those are valid arguments.
Right.
Donald Trump lost the popular vote, lost the Electoral College.
He did.
He lost.
Big time loser.
Yeah.
He lost over and over again.
Bigly.
He bigly lost.
Yes.
And the fact that I mean, you look at George W. Bush and you look at President Carter, both one-term presidents who, there you go.
They stepped down and they went back to their lives.
Yep.
They went back to their lives. George H.W. Bush dropping out of planes.
Peyton
Remember, he was doing that. He was skydiving a lot when he left the presidency. But it's I want Donald to go bye-bye.
Yeah. Same.
I don't think he will go bye-bye, though.
It's not in his nature.
Yeah.
He's been a public figure since the 80s. He's not going to fade out like former presidents. That's just not his nature.
He could still be a public figure. He just doesn't have to be the schmuck that he is.
He's always been a schmuck.
Yeah.
He has always been a schmuck.
And he kind of has to be this now because that's the only thing that's going to allow him to survive lawsuits and things like that,
Well, I mean, you sent me this morning. I love this story. Excuse me. Donald told advisors he needed to save Russiagate docs so Biden wouldn't shred them.
Likely story.
I mean, honestly, it's like, okay, so Donald wants to keep them so that Biden doesn't shred them because they exonerate Donald? Is that the logic in his
If they exonerated him, he would have released them by now.
That's the point. It's like if there was anything remotely to exonerate him with regard to Russia and the 2016 election, it would be, he would have it all over Truth Central.
He wouldn't stop talking about.
Yeah. No, I mean, he wouldn't be holding on to them just for safekeeping.
Yeah.
And and if he were exonerated, I don't think President Biden would have a problem saying, yeah, he's exonerated. That's the other thing. It's like, truth is truth.
Well, and it's also, they're not the only copies of those documents. Biden would be able to shred the originals.
Yeah, and then there is that. I mean, and then I love the fact that, where did I put that? Oh, where are you?
I'm sorry, it's death by 1,000 paper cuts yesterday.
I know I have, it's all, oh, here it is. So Bannon is supposed to turn himself in today.
Yeah.
We'll see if that happens.
to be indicted, most likely, is what we're going to find out. He said they will have to kill me first. What?
He's a little bit of a drama queen.
He is.
It's like...
And also, he's turning himself in.
He's turning himself in. He said, just days after being swatted 3 different times by deranged thugs from New York City inspired by the Biden administration to assassinate me by police, the Soros-backed DA, okay, so George Soros is now paying...
Yeah.
Okay.
He's
has now
their
decided to
convenient
pursue
boogeyman.
phony charges against me 60 days before the midterm election because War Room is the major source of the MAGA grassroots movement. He's not running for anything. Who cares if there's a midterm coming up and he's getting arrested?
Right.
Yeah.
And by the way, the DA doesn't follow DOJ
And also,
rules.
he's Steve Bannon. He's not a political candidate in any way, shape, or form.
No.
He's never even considered being a political candidate in
He's
any
an
way, shape, or
entertainer.
form.
He's a talk show host.
Yeah.
He does what I do. He's a podcast host. He's no better than a podcaster. Hi, I'm one.
And you haven't been indicted that we know of.
What? I haven't been indicted as far as I know of, and I'm not running for office, so there's that. But I mean, for him, they will have to kill me first. Really, dude? Are they going to let him wear 3 jumpsuits because he wears the 3?
Right. I don't know that I would say he's turning himself in until he actually turns himself in. I don't think he's going to.
Really?
Yeah.
The fact that he's gone to New York and everything makes me think that he's doing it. But I mean, we'll see. It's supposed to happen.
Do you think he wants to be dragged out like an episode of Cops?
Because that is the drama queen that he is. Yes.
I
think he's too smushy for that. I don't think he would like the pain of that. I think turning yourself in is a lot.
He likes
less
the drama.
painful.
He wants cameras on him when the authorities do that to him. So then he can claim to be a victim.
Well, there will be cameras on him no matter what.
There will be. But if he is seen going into the DA's office willingly, that looks weak, according to people like him. If he is dragged in by the authorities, then he can claim to be a victim of the
deep state
of the deep state and the Soros-funded DA and whatever.
I mean, I love George Soros. Really does pay a lot of people's salaries apparently.
Right. Yeah.
My checks have not been arriving. I'm very upset that I am not getting my checks anymore.
Right.
It's very, very upsetting to me. Now, I mean, Bannon and for him to say 60 days before the midterm, who cares?
You're nobody, Steve Bannon.
He's a podcast host.
Yeah, he's a podcast host. But he was also a former presidential advisor.
Yeah. Who was fired.
Who was fired. He was only there in, 2017 for like barely a year, right?
Yeah. Fired and also indicted and released on a pardon from the president. So he's got a history of crooking.
And according to reports, what he's going to be charged with, they're going to follow the same route that the federal case was. And anybody saying that the state can't do that doesn't know the law, because the state is its own entity, and if he damaged the state has the right to have a criminal lawsuit against him. So, now he thinks he's more important than he is.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Joe Rogan has a bigger following than he does.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think he argued in that same, I'm not sure if it was the same statement or not, but he argued in that statement that he put out last night about how they'll have to kill him. He argued that he is a pivotal part of the Trump campaign strategy and the MAGA campaign strategy with his War Room podcast. To him, that makes him influential and makes him important enough.
Uh-huh.
Okay, because as far as we know, Donald Trump is not running yet.
He's not announced, so Steve Bannon has no link to that.
There's no campaign to be attached to with regards to Donald Trump.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very confused. Is Barron running? I mean, is Donnie Jr. running?
Eric. I'm Eric.
Eric. I'm Eric.
Eric White thinks he's running.
He probably does. He definitely does.
Yeah.
He means running a mile, but still, he thinks he's running.
Yeah.
Right, he does. He probably thinks
you can't indict me, I'm running.
And Mike Flynn, man, this one, he freaked out on an AP reporter too. I mean, these people are kind of milk toasty. The AP is not,
snowflakes.
Yeah. He walked out of an interview with Michelle Smith, who asked him if he was communicating with his brother during the January 6th
Right.
insurrection. And he
Right.
got very testy and very upset about that question and left. He said, because of this interview, I will never talk to the AP again. I'm so sick of this because it's so fake and it's so targeted and it's all about we're going to get this guy. I'll never speak to them again because of this interview.
Harumph.
I mean, really, dude?
It also makes me think that we should question his brother about those phone calls too.
I hope that somebody's talking to his brother because it does seem a little...
He was there when they were making the call about sending the National Guard.
Or not sending the National Guard, which is really what happened.
Yeah.
No, I hope that somebody's talking to his brother, whether it's the January 6th committee or the DOJ, because that is important information as to who didn't order the code red.
Well, and that's also very easy metadata to collect because it's just the phone call. It's not the content of the call, but they can easily check to see if there was any communication between the Flynn brothers.
And they're brothers. What's the problem? Don't you talk to your brother?
Yeah.
When something's going on?
During an insurrection.
I mean, people were on the phone with family members during that day, I'm sure, going, are you watching this? So I don't see why he wouldn't have called his brother.
Right.
I know. I mean, but legitimately, most people were on the phone saying, "Can you believe what's going on?" And Michael Flynn probably said to his brother, "Can you believe what's going on?" And his brother said, "I know, it's exciting, isn't it?" And Oath Keepers. This is a frightening thing. Yeah.
The membership list includes hundreds of police officers and other military members.
Of course.
The Anti-Defamation League obtained the list from a hacked database. Identified 370 people whom it believes currently work as police, including some who serve as police chiefs and sheriffs. These are Oath Keepers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is dangerous.
Absolutely.
We got to get these
some of
folks
these small
out.
town police and sheriff. This doesn't surprise me at all.
There's a really notable.
Not at all.
There's a really notable case up in Fresno of one of a sheriff's officer up there in Fresno, and it was like it became very public knowledge up there, and people were freaking out.
Yeah, there's a Sean Mobley, the sheriff of Otero County, Colorado, told the AP that the Oath Keepers had become far too extreme for him, and he left them during the Bundy Ranch issue. And then South Dakota State Representative Phil Jensen insisted that he paid for a one-year membership in 2014, but he hasn't been associated with the group. He said back in 2014, they appear to be a pretty solid conservative group. I can't speak to them now. Those are two people that they talked to that were associated with the Oath Keepers. But this is dangerous, and I'm sure we've got people in the Army.
I think Chris has some news.
We have a little bit of breaking news. I'm wrong. Bannon just walked into One Hogan in New York City to surrender. I'm wrong.
Okay.
I am wrong again.
All right, Chris.
Again.
Well,
Again,
I
Chris is
appreciate you
wrong.
saying he wasn't going to do it because that's how we knew he was going to do it. So, Chris, you are the bearer of good
But
news.
it just doesn't seem like something he would do. You know, he would make a big issue out of it and fight it so he can point to it and say, look what the deep state is doing to me.
Well, he's probably going to fight it in court, saying they don't have standing. I mean, he's going to try to not
he's
go
going to do
to
everything
prison.
he can.
Yeah.
And it'll be a circus.
It will be. I mean, if it goes to trial, because he's not going to plead guilty.
Yeah.
When it goes to trial, it will be a madhouse.
Yeah.
Not since
for
Alex
sure.
Jones will there be something so ridiculous happening in a courtroom.
Yes, it'll be entertaining.